Bishop.
And I'm Dr. Steph.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of Our Life, Our Journey,
Our Truth.
We're so excited to have you every single week right here on this YouTube channel. We don't take it for granted. We appreciate you. Make no mistake about it. This is the place we come together and we just have real conversations, man, about real topics. And you guys have truly blessed us by sharing your thoughts and comments with us. And make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you comment, and make sure you
subscribe.
Please do. Make sure you click that subscribe button so we can make sure you get notifications and all those things when we drop new episodes. So thank you so much for just being a part of this great community. We appreciate you so much. Now follow her, Dr. Steph. Gotta do it, y'all. Dr. Steph Walker on Instagram. Follow me at Joseph Walker 3 on Instagram. It'll bless you. And also go to our website, josephwalker3.org. Get our merch, get our books, all the good stuff that'll bless you and your family. We appreciate you so much. So today, friendship killers. What do you do with that? Adult friendships. We're talking about like grown folk friendships, not just, these casual along the way. We're talking about when you have real grown people who forge relationships and friendships, what can contribute to the demise of those friendships? What is it that causes those relationships and friendships to fail? And out of the gate, let me just tell you, I believe that disingenuousness, I think that whenever you are not authentically you, when you are trying to be something you're not, representing something that you're not, out of the gate, that's just bad.
Or when you are not authentically representing your why.
Wow.
In terms of the relationship, right?
That's good.
Because, at this stage in the game, everybody's got their own thing going on. They got their own life. They have their halves, right? And sometimes you think that people are genuinely engaging with you for friendship purposes, but it's really for that later ask.
That's correct.
Right?
That's correct.
It's because they have an agenda. And so I think at this point, we are slower to make friends because we are constantly now forced to walk in cautious optimism, so to speak, because of, experiences from the past. And I think that just comes with wisdom and time. But like when people are approaching you for purposes other than just genuine friendship.
Yeah, and I think you can sense it. It's coming.
Yeah.
And I always say those are those transactional relationships. They're not transformational at all. And you know what it is.
And they serve their purpose, right? Like if it's yin and yang, if it's symbiotic, if it's, for business reasons, then that's what that is, right? But let's call it what it is. Let's call a spade. Like this is a transactional relationship. That's what he's calling it.
Yeah.
But don't disguise it as something other than what it is. I think that's when the problem comes into
that's
play.
so true, right? Because you can start making investments in what you assume to be the purpose of this friendship, and only to discover that they were after something completely different. So don't set yourself up for failure, y'all, because that is a huge... One of the things that I'm adamant about is loyalty. Loyalty. Gosh, man. Like, I can I tell you something? And I don't hear it on the street. Can I confide in you? Can I believe that you're going to hang with me in the good and the bad? Some people are just like only with you when things are well. You don't need friends like that. You need people that are going to be with you in the good. You need all the different seasons, right?
Yes, but I will put a caveat to that as well. Because I think also at this stage in the game, when you're older, you have more to lose when people are engaging in foolish activities, right? Like, I am ride or thrive, meaning that I'm your friend till the end, and I'm going to be supportive of you. But if you're constantly engaging in foolishness, that's different. I'm not going to sign up for that. I have too much to lose to be caught up in your foolishness. Right. And so when someone is refusing to co-sign on your foolishness, that's not them being a disingenuous friend. That's them saying, hey, look... you need to check yourself before you wreck yourself because I can't go down with this ship. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I think those are two fundamentally different things. When you're saying, well, you're not being loyal, you're not being supportive. Am I not being loyal to your true self, or am I not being loyal to the foolishness that you're trying to sign me up for?
That's good.
Those are two very different things.
That right there, That see, she dropping gems. Gems. That right there. That was so powerful, right? Because you can't be loyal to something that's dysfunctional,
Right.
loyal to something that is just completely
That's
against God's will.
yeah.
So I get it. You're absolutely right. There's
And
sometimes
people are like, we ride or die. No, I'm ride or thrive.
ride or thrive.
We're going to thrive
Ride
together.
or thrive.
Because I'm going to pull you with me. I'm going to keep climbing. I'm not going to go driving off the cliff. If I see that you're driving off the cliff, I'm friend enough to pull you to the side and say, that ain't the way, sister. That's not the way, brother. You need to redirect. Here's some help. Here's some resources. I'm here for you. But if you're going to keep driving off the cliff, I'm getting out the car. That doesn't make me less than a friend. That means that I have a family. I have things that that will cost, that this relationship will cost me. And so it's not about not being loyal or not being genuine. It's about what kind of friend are you really willing to be. I'm the kind of friend that I'd rather you be upset at me for a few years for telling you the truth, for trying to help you, for trying to make sure that you don't run off the cliff, to make sure that you're not going in the wrong direction, so that later on, even though you're upset at me, in 3 years, you're going to come back and say, you know what, you were right. Thank you for being that type of friend. And I apologize for disengaging because I thought that you were not that person, that you didn't have my back. I've had so many people call me. I won't say so many, but a handful of people call years later out of the blue to say just that, because they did realize that I was being more than a friend. I was willing to sacrifice the friendship for their well-being.
That's so rich. I mean, that is so rich. I think sometimes we have these expectations in friendships, and you have to like truly temper your expectations. You have to communicate about what those expectations are, because sometimes people come into it assuming one thing, making investments, as I said, and then all of a sudden you've been bamboozled. What's up with that? You know, you can't. You know, how do you feel about confidentiality in friendships?
I think it's utmost
a
important.
relationship killer?
I think confidentiality is key. Like, if I am willing to consider you friend enough to tell my deepest secrets or what have you, or to tell you anything for that matter, the assumption is that information doesn't leave this space, leave the room. But I also think that's why, as you climb, that people's circles get smaller. Right? Because you don't want to constantly be operating in a space where you can't speak up and speak your mind and tell your truth or live in your truth. And so as a result, you only keep the people around you who you can be your genuine self and speak your truth around.
That's so true, right? That's discernment. That's all those things I think are so important. I've seen a lot of relationships fail because people just do not know how to maintain levels of confidentiality, or we like to flex that we know somebody. We want to share all the intel, and that can be the demise, of the relationship. I think one of the things that causes relationships, adult relationships, to fail is a lack of reciprocity. Unilateralism. If I'm the person that's constantly pouring in, and you're not doing anything, man, this is gonna be messed up.
Like, I had to deal with this situation not too long ago, where every time the person calls or texts me, it's always an ask. If you look at the text thread, when I'm calling or texting, it's all about, how are you doing? What's going on with you? How's the family? Just checking in.
That's good.
But sometimes I don't even get a response to that until they're ready for their next ask. That's a red flag. No, thank you. I'm good.
I think that whenever you confide, and I live by this. Like, you can tell me something, and it's gonna go to the grave. And I'm not gonna, it's like Fort Knox, and you have to learn that when you are receiving information from people, you have to hold that dear. You don't know what you're leaking that information could do in terms of collateral damage, right? One of the things that I'm gonna talk about this is gonna be a big one, right? So I have a friend. I won't say the name. You know the friend, and they're pretty famous. And one of the deal breakers, they indicated, I heard about them. I've never done this and never will cross that line, though, is that when people ask you for money. You think that's a deal breaker?
I don't think so.
Well, maybe it's how you ask me.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
And what kind of relationship do we have?
Okay.
Do we have the type of relationship where you can, right? Like, or, I think it just depends. Like, for example, I've had friends who have found themselves in situations that they didn't necessarily expect. If I can't be there to be present, to help in some other way, perhaps there is a way that I can help out in this situation. Sometimes that is financial help, right? It's not that they were being frivolous. It's not that this was, something that was caused on their own. But if they find themselves in a situation, then as a friend, I would hope that if you saw me in a dire need situation, that I wouldn't have to ask if you were able to help, that you would be willing to do so. And so for me, it's about lending what I can lend in whatever situation, whether it's resources, time, whatever, because you're my friend. That's what friends are for. So I don't think when people ask you for money, it's a deal breaker. I think it's who ask you for money, when they ask you for money, and what it's for. And like, if this is a constant theme in the relationship, right? Right? Is it, that's why you befriended me so that later on you could ask me for this, or you are trying to get me to, sponsor your life or sponsor this dream of yours. Those are completely different than finding a friend who's in a precarious situation.
I agree with that in part. I think that one of the complicated things for me, and I was told this many years ago, don't loan what you cannot give.
I told you that.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because the thing is, and this is a completely different conversation than just friends, right? Like, if someone is coming to you in need and you feel like you can help them and it's a financial help. My father taught me long ago, don't loan someone something that you can't afford to just give it to them. Because if they're asking you for it, they need it. And if they need it, chances are you have to ask yourself, why are they in that situation where they do need it? And then are they going to be able to get themselves out of the situation to be able to pay you back fully, right? And so if you walk away loaning a friend money with the expectation that they have to pay you back no matter what, that can ruin that relationship. It's better for you not to give it, right? But if you're friend enough to be able, and in the position to be able to do it, you give it. And you call a loan, but you walk away and spiritually in your mind, you just know, okay, if they can give it to me, great. If they can't, then it's okay. Unless it truly is a loan, right? And so you just have to be sort of mindful of that, because frequently relationships are destroyed over money. Yeah.
That's good. And I think, some people, I think when they receive, something from you, in friendship, etc., I think one of the things I'm always listening for is gratitude.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
Always be mindful and fearful and concerned about people who do not say thank you. Oh my God, that's a deal breaker.
It's really simple.
Just thank you. This is all entitlement. This is what you should do for me.
Yeah,
that is a problem.
Yeah, 100% a problem.
That's a deal breaker. I think. Yeah. So I think when you're in that space where we're talking about lack of confidentiality. We're talking about people who are ungrateful. We're talking about people who recklessly ask, but the relationship is always unilateral. There's no reciprocity.
Yeah.
I think those are deal breakers.
Well, one more I think for me is needy.
Oh God.
Someone who's a needy person, and I don't mean needy as in may I borrow? I have an actual need. I mean needy as in I need to talk to you all the time. I need to be near you all the time. We need to go out all the time. We need to hang out all the time. You need to answer the phone when I call you. You got to text. When I text you, my expectation is you're going to text me right back. And I got a life. I got things to do. I'm busy, right? My closest friends are just as busy, if not busier than I am. And so when I text, I don't expect you to text me right away. If I'm texting in the middle of the night, I'll frequently say, don't respond to this right now. I know it's late. I'm just sending this because it's on my mind. Respond to me when you can.
Yeah.
Right? And that gives them the leeway to do exactly that. Everybody's got a life. Some people are married. Some people have kids. Like, they've got their own lives going on. And if I have the expectation that as a grown person, I'm the center of your world, first of all, what kind of friend is that for me to expect that of you? And then what you doing with your time? That you have all the time in the world to respond to my personal needs, and you're an adult with your own responsibilities as well. Like, it just doesn't make sense, and it's not fair. And so when people approach me with that expectation, I can't. I don't have time for it. I don't have the emotional bandwidth to support your emotional needs in that way. And those relationships are frequently just cut off at the knees.
Wow.
I mean, right. Like, I don't have the bandwidth. I just stop responding, and eventually people get the message. Or sometimes I am able to, depending on the type of relationship that we have that conversation. Either you get it or you don't. If you get it, then great. If you don't, well, sayonara. I mean, it is what it is. We're all adults here.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. I think as you think about friendships and navigating this terrain, and we talk about it as adults in terms of just the kinds of people we want in our lives. Let's be clear. We're not these bougie people out here saying we don't, we have to give you a survey before you become our friend. It's just that we want you to understand that we're looking for authenticity. We're looking for reciprocity. Yeah. We're looking for people who are grateful. We're looking for people who are not needy. I'm our best friends. We don't talk every single day.
And the thing is, though, and that's so right, but when you do talk, you pick up from where you were. Left off.
Yeah, you
right?
talked about that with your friend.
Yeah, and the thing is, the reason that they're busy because they're also on the same wavelength because they also are chasing their goals and dreams and aspirations, right? And they're also being supportive of other people in their lives, right? And so we don't need that kind of attention. When I call and you don't answer the phone, I know you love me. I know that when you do call, it's when you have time to. Yeah. If you're not calling me, I know that it's because you got something going on, right? Yeah. And I respect that, and I give you your space and the grace to do whatever you need to do, but also being friend enough, if I haven't heard from you in a while, I'm not calling to ask you for something. I'm calling to check in on you.
So good.
To make sure, hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. I assume you're busy, but I just want you to know that I'm here for you if you need anything. I just want to make sure that you're not calling me because you are busy and not because you're going through something, right? No harm, no foul. Talk to you later. Yeah.
Man, listen. Y'all getting some wisdom. You took the gems today. This is real for you, huh? I love it. No, for real. We just, this is real talk for us. We just want you to understand. Friendships matter.
And it's so important.
So important. You're not to be in isolation. Relationships matter to God.
Yeah.
We have great friends. We thank God. To all our friends out there, it means a lot. And, man, listen, I hope this has been a blessing. I hope you've learned something. I hope you got some nuggets out there. Hey, man, don't be guilty of killing the friendship before it even gets started, right?
And take your friendship seriously and pick your friends wisely. Like, you can look at a person and tell where they're going or what they're capable of doing or their trajectory by the people that they're hanging out with.
Yeah.
Like, your personality is built by, I believe, by the 5 to 6 closest people around you.
That's good. And
so be mindful of who you allow around you because that's the environment that you are soaking in on a consistent basis. I'm sure your parents probably said the same thing. Birds, what is it? Birds of a feather fly together. Is that right?
Flock together.
Right. And so it's because, like, what you are seeing around you is what you're gravitating towards. Like, that's your gravitational pull.
Right.
And so if the people around you aren't doing anything, be careful, be mindful, find a new circle because they will pull you down, right? You don't want to be always the person that's the greatest person in your circle. You don't have to leave that circle, but you need to find other circles where you're not the greatest person so that you can absorb, so that you can, get to the next level because it's about iron sharpening iron, right?
That's good. Well, guys, listen, our time is out, but I tell you what, we got more to say about this topic. We want to hear your comments. Make sure you comment. Let us know what you think. What do you think are some relationship killers? Let us know.
Some deal breakers.
We'll come back on this one, right? We'll come back.
Yeah.
Later on down the road, we'll talk about this again. This is big. I appreciate you guys so much. And I want to thank you for tuning in. I'm Bishop.
And I'm Dr. Steph.
Until next time, peace.